There's something happening inside your body right now that cancer cells are desperately hoping you never figure out. And after I dug through the actual research published in some of the most trusted scientific journals on the planet, I genuinely could not stay quiet about it. Because what I found wasn't a miracle pill, it wasn't some expensive treatment locked behind a hospital door, and it wasn't a rare molecule discovered in a billion-dollar lab. It was something your body already knows how to do, something free, something you could literally start today, and yet almost nobody talks about it the way they should. I'm a physician. I've sat across from people on the worst day of their lives. I've watched families hold their breath waiting for results, and I'm telling you that understanding this one thing has shifted the way I speak to every single person who walks into my office. Not just the ones fighting cancer, but everyone. Because here's the uncomfortable truth most people never hear. The original tumor is usually not what takes a life. It's when cancer travels. When it breaks off and spreads to other parts of the body through the bloodstream, that process has a name, metastasis. And it's responsible for the majority of cancer deaths, so naturally, researchers asked a simple but powerful question. What actually happens to these traveling cancer cells while they're moving through the blood? And what they discovered stopped me in my tracks. Because they took cancer cells, placed them in controlled conditions, and recreated what happens inside your body during intense physical effort. Fast, forceful blood flow, the kind your heart produces when you're truly pushing yourself. And the result was striking. The harder and faster the blood moved, the fewer cancer cells survived the journey. Let that sink in for a second. Imagine trying to cross a still, peaceful pond versus being thrown into a violent, rushing river. In the calm water, you drift along easily, but in the river, you're tossed, slammed, and overwhelmed. And that's exactly what hard exercise does. It transforms your quiet bloodstream into a raging current that cancer cells struggle to endure. Now, I won't lie to you and say this stops cancer from ever spreading. Biology doesn't hand out guarantees. But making that journey harder for cancer cells is meaningful. It matters. And that's only the first piece of the puzzle, because the second discovery is just as fascinating. Your body has its own security force, an immune system constantly patrolling, scanning, hunting for cells that have gone rogue. And cancer cells are exactly that, cells that broke the rules. But here's the problem. When that security team isn't being challenged, when life stays too comfortable and still, those guards get sluggish. They slack off. And that's where movement comes in. Exercise sounds the alarm. It floods your system with natural killer cells, the frontline defenders that go straight for threats. And it activates specialized immune soldiers trained to seek out and destroy dangerous cells. The research even shows that physical activity helps push more of these defenders directly into tumor tissue, and people who keep moving after treatment show stronger, sharper immune activity for years afterward. A sleepy security team misses things, an alert one catches danger early, and that difference can change everything. Then there's the third discovery, which honestly reframed how I think about the entire battle. Because cancer doesn't grow in empty space, it grows in an environment, a kind of internal climate, and some climates are far more welcoming to cancer than others. Two of the biggest factors that roll out the red carpet for cancer are high insulin and chronic inflammation. Insulin acts like a constant whisper, telling cells to grow and multiply, including the ones you don't want growing. And chronic inflammation is like a low, smoldering fire that quietly damages tissue and creates the perfect conditions for trouble to take root. Here's the beautiful part. Exercise directly lowers insulin and directly cools that inflammation down. So picture it like this. Cancer thrives in a warm, calm, well-fed home. And what movement does is make that home cold, chaotic, and starved of resources. You're not attacking the cancer with a weapon, you're making the entire neighborhood unlivable for it. And over time, that shift is profound. But the fourth thing I learned might be the most overlooked of all, and even people deep in the medical world don't emphasize it enough. Muscle, real, functional muscle on your body, is far more important than most people realize. Because cancer treatment is brutal. Chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, they save lives, but they take an enormous toll. And one of the first things to disappear under that pressure is muscle. Patients lose it fast. And when researchers studied body scans taken before, during, and after treatment, a clear pattern emerged. The people who walked in with more muscle, and the ones who managed to hold on to more muscle throughout, consistently did better. Their bodies handled treatment more gracefully, they recovered quicker, their immune systems held stronger, and their long-term survival was better. So in this context, muscle isn't about looking good or hitting a fitness goal, it's a reserve tank, a survival asset, a buffer between you and the worst of what treatment throws at you. And that completely changes how seriously we should take strength. So the real question becomes, what do you actually do with all of this? And it depends on where you are right now. If you're focused on prevention, which is where most of us live, the research points clearly toward combining two types of movement, not one, both. You need aerobic work, the brisk walking, cycling, swimming, the kind that gets your blood truly flowing fast and forceful, because that's what creates the rushing river effect, and you need resistance work, lifting, bodyweight movements, resistance bands, because that's what builds and protects the muscle that guards everything else. A realistic starting place is aiming for around 150 minutes of moderate movement a week with a couple of strength sessions mixed in, and within that, include moments where you genuinely push, where the effort is real, because that intensity is what triggers the powerful blood flow response, and the magic isn't in one workout, it's in doing this steadily over months and years. But if you're in the middle of treatment right now, the goal isn't to chase fitness or break records. The goal is preservation, holding on to your strength, your muscle, your ability to keep going. That might look like light resistance work, gentle bands, easy walks on the days you feel up to it, never forcing yourself through severe symptoms, but returning to movement the moment your body allows, and always. Always checking with your own doctor about what's safe for your specific situation, because lying completely still for weeks on end only makes the climb back harder. And if you're someone who has come out the other side, who fought and survived, first let me say you are genuinely remarkable. And now your mission is to rebuild. Treatment drained your reserves, and your job is to refill them slowly, patiently, consistently, starting wherever you are, adding a little more as your body permits, and putting real focus on rebuilding muscle, because that's the foundation that protects everything else. Think in terms of seasons, not days. I do want to be honest before we finish. Not every cancer behaves the same way in the research. Not every person can move at the same intensity, and certain situations, especially where cancer has reached the bones, demand serious caution and medical guidance. We don't have every answer yet, science is still learning, but we already know enough to do something different starting today, and the cost of treating movement as optional, as something you'll get to eventually, is simply too high. So if this changed the way you see your own body and what it's quietly capable of, share it with someone who needs it, especially anyone you know walking through this fight right now, because the right information at the right moment can genuinely shift the road ahead. Take care of yourself, move with purpose, and never underestimate the quiet power your body already holds.